So around 6 months ago, I made a video talking about my experience with an Amanita muscaria chocolate bar. And what I've realized recently is that I was wrong. It was not Amanita muscaria in the chocolate bar. It was something else. And that something else was a little molecule known as 4-ACO DMT, otherwise known as synthetic mushrooms. Now, what's interesting about 4-ACO DMT is that it was created by the late, great Albert Hofmann, the same man who synthesized LSD. So what's interesting about 4-ACO DMT is that in the body, it converts to psilocin 4-HO DMT. And what is the only other chemical compound on planet Earth known to convert to psilocin? You guessed it, psilocybin, 4-PO-DMT. So if I was going to create a mushroom chocolate bar and sell it in a smoke shop, which is where I got this chocolate bar from, I obviously wouldn't use psilocybin because it's illegal, and I wouldn't use Amanita because it doesn't really produce the same effects as a classic psilocybin trip. I would use a synthetic compound that is commonly known as synthetic mushrooms, converts to the same molecule that psilocybin converts to, and that is what I would put in the chocolate bar. And so after 6 months, I am like 99% sure that is what is in this chocolate bar. I'm not going to show it on camera because if I did, this video would probably get taken down. That's what happened last time. But I am like fairly confident it's 4-ACO DMT in these chocolate bars. And that would also explain why the trip was so similar to a psilocybin trip. Very similar, because even though it's synthetic, it's still converting to the same molecule in your body, psilocin, 4-HO DMT. So whether it comes from nature, a fungus growing out of the ground, or whether it's synthesized in a lab, in your body, it converts into the same molecule. So that's probably why this experience I had with 4-ACO DMT or synthetic mushrooms was so similar to my psilocybin trips, because it converts to the same thing. It converts to the same molecule that creates the psychedelic effect. So that was really eye-opening for me. I wish I had done way more research before I made the video saying that it was Amanita. I was just really excited to make the video. I thought it was such a cool experience. But now I'm really curious what Amanita's like, because if this isn't Amanita, then I want to know what that sort of, cousin fungus experience is like, because it's not psilocybin, it's muscimol. So I'm really curious about Amanita now. But what I can say about 4-ACO DMT is that it is very, very similar to my psilocybin trips. Now, what's interesting, and this might lead into this whole theme of like, if it's not natural, you shouldn't take it, whatever. Like I said in my previous video, the synthetic mushrooms, even though it converts to the same molecule in your body as psilocybin mushrooms do, whether that's golden teachers or liberty caps or penis envy, whatever it may be, I felt like there was something missing. There was something slightly off about the synthetic version of magic mushrooms. It didn't have quite the same magic or spark that naturally grown psilocybin mushrooms produce. Now, is that because it's made in the lab and it's not from the earth, it's not natural? I don't really know why that is. Maybe I didn't take enough. Maybe it's because it was my first experience. I really didn't take much, so I need to explore it more. But there could be something there. Now, normally in my mind, I don't really buy into this whole like, it's natural, and that means you should take it. If it's made in the lab or synthesized, it's not natural, you shouldn't take it. I don't really buy into that for a few reasons. One, a molecule's a molecule, a chemical's a chemical. Whether that comes from the earth or it comes from a lab doesn't really matter. It's going to be a chemical entering your body. Secondly, humans are nature. So whatever humans create is an extension of nature producing chemicals. So just because humans make it in the lab doesn't necessarily mean that it's not natural. Humans are nature. So in that sense, when you widen your perspective, it is natural. It's something that's being created by the earth, because humans are the earth, and whatever humans do, it's the earth doing. Whatever humans do, whatever the earth does is what the universe is doing. So it's all just like a chemical soup. It doesn't really matter if it comes from the earth or from a lab. It's all natural. There's nothing unnatural about the universe. Everything, by definition within the universe is natural to the universe. Even if it's a human, in a lab coat named Albert Hoffman synthesizing something called lysergic acid dithalamide. So that's where I kind of don't necessarily agree with this sort of distinction or this division between natural and synthetic. That division is a concept. It's just something you're superimposing onto life. If you zoom out, it's all just chemicals and it's all natural, because humans are just as natural. Whatever we produce is just as natural as the earth producing it, because we are the earth. So the earth is producing it just through humans. So anyways, you get my point. But with that said, it is interesting that I felt like in the original take of this video, it is interesting that I felt like it was missing that magic. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to making a chemical in the lab, even though it converts to the same molecule in your body as the organic grown molecule psilocybin converts to. Maybe there's something to it. I really don't know. I don't think so. It could have just been my first trip. It could have been the quality of what's in the mushroom bars. I mean, who knows? There's so many factors. But I won't ramble on too much about that. I just wanted to make an update video and shared that it was not Amanita. It was 4-ACO DMT. And now I'm excited to actually try Amanita properly and see what that experience is like. So, what else can I say about the trip, since this is like an updated trip report? I mean, yeah, it was just very similar. The come up was very similar to all of my psilocybin mushroom trips. The visuals were very similar. The body sensations felt like a fungus, body sensations. So all in all, I think 4-ACO DMT or synthetic mushrooms is spot on. And of course, when you know the science behind it, how it converts to the same molecule that psilocybin converts to, it just makes sense. It's literally the same thing. It's just coming from a different source. So yeah, that's very interesting, and I'm excited to explore that more. But at the same time, I have the real deal on me, so I don't really need the synthetic version, if that makes sense. But I think it's really cool. And the fact that it's kind of in a legal gray area is interesting, because people that don't have access to, naturally growing psilocybin mushrooms, or psilocybin mushrooms that are grown by a mycologist, a cultivator, they can have access to something which is essentially the same thing in a chocolate bar or whatever it may be, gummies, whatever. And so I think that's overall a net positive for people that don't have the connections to find just classic magic mushrooms. So I think that that's a positive thing. Now, technically, I think it is illegal under the Federal Analog Act, but there is a lot of gray area, and that's probably why we are able to sell it in our smoke shop. And And I think that's a good thing. And what I hear from customers when they take this is classic trip report stories. One dude was telling me about how he met God. Another guy was telling me how he was he like forgot who he was. Like, just classic trip stories. And it just makes sense that these mushroom bars would produce the similar effects that you hear from people that take classic psilocybin mushrooms. So yeah, updated video. 4-ACO DMT, very interesting molecule. And I had no idea that Albert Hoffman created it, which is just crazy that guy created LSD and 4-ACO DMT. But he was a brilliant man. And I think he was trying to find the synthetic equivalent of psilocybin that would convert into psilocin. So I'm sure, he knew the science behind it, and that's why he was able to synthesize it and make it in a lab. But yeah, really interesting stuff. Would I recommend 4-ACO DMT? Yeah, honestly, I would, especially knowing the science behind it. If you can't get classic magic mushrooms, 4-ACO DMT is a safe bet. It converts to the same molecule in your body. Psilocin is what's actually making you trip. I used to think it was psilocybin until I learned that it's what psilocybin turns into in your body that produces the psychedelic effects. So yeah, I do recommend it. If you can't get classic shroomies, I think it's a good bet. I think you'll have a good experience. Well, actually, I can't promise that. I don't know how your experience is going to go. You could have a trip from hell and be lost in a sea of madness. But you get the point. I think it's a cool alternative to my favorite psychedelic ever, which is magic mushrooms. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the updated video. I'll see you in the next one.